Our Jesus plushie, guys. So I wanted to break this whole tutorial up into different segments, and we're going to be working with our primary, the white yarn, and the secondary yarn, which is our skin tone color and our hair color and the beard color. I forgot to add that in. So we are going to be starting off with making the body, like the robe part. And we want a couple of inches tail, and we're going to be casting on 12 loops. So this is an intermediate pattern, which I'll still be teaching as a beginner, but intermediate. So you want to make your loop sizes to fit at least 2 fingers width. We always want to knit tight, but when it comes to creating our foundation chain, you can go ahead and make these loops a little bit loose here. And we're casting on, again, 12 loops. And so my primary color is white for his robe, and all the materials are in the PDF of exact brands that I am using and where I got them. I highly recommend these yarns right here, guys. They're really fluffy, very fluffy. Loops and Threads Fluffy Chenille I also highly recommend, and the perfect phasing for the skin tone color. So I'm knitting these loops a little bit loose, not super tight just yet. That's on row 1 and up. So it's a good rule to go ahead and count back down that you have 12 loops. Now notice how I'm going to be massaging because this yarn is so fluffy. It really helps to distinguish these loops, to massage, to feel that threading under all that fluffy yarn. And so this is just a trick right here if you're working with very fluffy yarn for the first time, to massage each loop to help you distinguish. And so now we are going to be getting it into the round, getting it into a circle. So taking our tail, and we're going to poke it through the second stitch to the last and pull it right through, nice and flushed. You want your foundation chain circle to be evenly flat going all the way around, because it will mess you up if it's twisted. So nice and evenly flat going all the way around. And here's when we're going to be knitting super tight. So I'm drawing back on my working yarn, and I'm shrinking this loop down to it's like a finger width, 1 finger width. We want to knit super tight here now. And so we're going to be pulling our loops, taking our working yarn and pulling our loops throughout the foundation chain, using my thumb here to help me keep these loops small, keep these loops minimized. Very, very little loops here. Now we're going to be pulling for 11 loops because we had 1 loop hanging out, and we cast on a total of 12. And again, be knitting tight. Highly recommend really fluffy yarn, especially the loops and threads. It's a little bit more fluffier than this one that's jumbo size 10. It's classified on Amazon. Again, all materials I use are in the material section of the PDF. So our tail, guys, will always be connected to stitch 1, a line on the left side before any decreasing. And so that is stitch 1. That will help you so you don't have to keep counting. And you know your last loop is going to be touching stitch 1. So use that as a golden marker to let you know this is the new row. Go ahead and count around to make sure you have 12. If you don't, undo the working yarn and just go back around again. The second row, we're going to go ahead and knit tight. You want to keep these loops really tight, like it can just fit an index finger width, or just 1 finger width. That is one of my, in my experiences, knitting tight is a key factor in plushie perfection. Now I'm using my tail too to let me know that that is stitch 1, so I'm not even counting here. Because when I get up to that stitch 1 connected to the tail, that's going to let me know, stop, this is the new row. So really helps right there. And the PDF has a written pattern if you want to go ahead and be following with that. So there is stitch 1 connected to the tail. Third row, you're going to be folding in half, just like that. Fold it in half every time you get to the third row, always. Now we're going to be knitting all the way to the 12th row. So this is the third row. You're going to go third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, 8th row, 9th row, 10th row, 11th row, 12th row. You're just going to do regular knitting. Keep it nice and tight. Be using your tail as your marker to let you know this is the new row. The 13th row is when we're going to be decreasing. And if you don't want to go along with me, because I do go slow, just look at the PDF. Starting on the 13th row, we'll be decreasing. We're going to be drawing in for like the shoulders, if I can say that word correctly. But this is the third row that I'm on, and like I said, all the way to the 12th row. Regular knitting. I'm referring back to my tail here. So this is the 4th row now, but I wanted to go and show you, let's say you lose track of what row you're on. Simply gliding your finger down, use your index finger, and for each indent is a new row. So there's our foundation chain. And be lifting your fingertip up just a little bit to distinguish each row, and that should help you right there. So I'm going to be jumping ahead here, guys, but once you knit 12 rows, so it should be 12 rows knitted, on the 13th row is when we're going to decrease. We're going to immediately decrease. Immediately decrease. And again, keep knitting tight. So about 1 finger width. And I'm going to be showing you here that the tail is still connected to stitch 1, but it's aligning on the right side now. So now we're going to decrease again. So we immediately decreased, and now we're going to decrease again. So this is a total of 4 loops, and we took it down by 2. So both of your back loops should be decreased. And now go ahead and knit for 6 loops. So that's 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 more, 6. Simply knit. That should take you all the way to the back to your last 2 loops right before stitch 1. And you're going to go ahead and decrease those together. So these last 2 loops should be right before stitch 1, right before that tail. And go ahead and decrease. So if you notice, we decreased right in the back. So now you should have 3 back loops that have been decreased. So you should have 9 loops left in total. Go ahead and count around to make sure you have 9. But the last, the back loops should all be decreased. And so I'm just trying to show you here. 1, 2, 3. All 3 should be decreased. 9 loops left. So let's go ahead and count around just to make sure that we have 9 loops. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you don't have 9, just undo your work and go around it again. Now this is the 14th row. Now we are going to be decreasing on the sides, exactly the sides. So I'm going to knit, and I'm going to determine here. So this feels like a side to me. Those 2 loops are about on the side. So I'm going to go and check it. I want 2 loops on the sides, and that's where I'm going to do my decreases. So I knit it, and then now I'm going to decrease. If you want to copy exactly what I'm doing here. And again, trying to keep these loops tight here, about a finger width. It could be a little bit challenging. I'm kind of struggling here. It really helps to use your nails because I'm knitting these loops so small. But that's what makes the perfection, I think. So this is the 14th row, and we are decreasing 2 times in total. one on each side. We're drawing it in for like the shoulders, guys. So now I'm going to go ahead and knit around in the front. I want to get to the other side now. I want to decrease right on the side, right where the shoulder points are. So knit right across the front and determine. You want it right on the side. So I kind of feel like right there. I'm going to turn it around just to make sure right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my second decrease, my last one for the 14th row. And so you should be left with 7 loops. So I'm going to go ahead and knit that last loop right in the back, right before stitch 1. You should have 7 loops remaining. We decreased twice. Took it down from 9 to 7. 14th row right here. So let's go ahead and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're a little faster, guys. Okay. The 15th row is when we're going to decrease again on the sides. So the 15th row. So go ahead and determine, look at your 15th row. See where your side loops are before you even begin. And then once you determine your sides, where you're going to be decreasing, go ahead and start knitting and decrease. So I knit it one time in the back, and now I'm decreasing. I knit it one time in the back, and now I'm decreasing. 15th row. This is the last row, guys, right here before we get to the neck. I'm going to go knit right in the front. About 2 loops I knit it. And then now I'm going to go ahead and decrease. It's going to be very tight. We're making a small little opening like for the neck, guys. And there you go. So once I decrease, that's it. I'm checking there's my stitch 1 connected to the tail. Go ahead and count around. Then you have 5 loops. On the 15th row, you should have 5 loops. That's it. We're done. Now it's the next section. Section 3 on the PDF written pattern. And she'll be looking something like this right here. Funny little shape here, but we're drawing it in. We're drawing it in. Like body, chest, shoulders point right up to the neck. So here's section 3 of the neck. Go ahead and cut off your primary yarn. Tie on your secondary yarn. Join it in. Burn method, handheld sewing method. Tie in a knot like me. It's a plushie. Won't be seen. Tie on 2 knots, 1 knot. You don't got to cut the ends off because it's a plushie. Just tuck it all in. Unless you want to cut the ends off. And I'm going to go ahead actually, because I can use these little end tips. Wherever I tuck in my tails, guys, I push in some hot glue and the same color piece of scrap yarn for extra security purpose. I will be showing that in the tutorial. My toddlers taught me very much with security. And a little bit of hot glue fabric helps. So here is the next section. Very simple. So I'm checking it. There's stitch 1. Tail line on the right side, and I'm simply going to knit 1 row. That's it. In my new color, my secondary color, my skin tone color, I'm going to knit 5 loops, 1 row. That's it. Keep it nice and tight still. So right after the neck, that's it. Just knit 1 row. On the written pattern in the PDF, it's section 4, and it's the head now. So almost done with part 1 tutorial here. It's basically on the body and enclosing stuffing. So you're going to be knitting for 1 row, 5 loops. Just count around again, 5 loops. That's it. Pretty simple right there compared to the body, all that decreasing. Now here's the head, guys. Here's a new section, the head. We're going to be increasing 5 times. Basically go all the way around. So you knit, keep it nice and tight as best as you can. And we're going to be increasing. You know, to increase universal scale, take that working yarn, always right in between 2 loops. So knit, increase, knit, increase, knit, increase. Go all the way around. you will be doing your last increase right before stitch 1 that's connected to the tail. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going all the way around, knitting, increase, knitting, increase. 5 times I'm going to be increasing, and I have 5 loops. So at the end of the first row, for the head right here, section 4, the head, you're going to have 10 loops in total. So be knitting, increasing, and you should have a total of 10 loops. We're trying to get back our 14 original loops for the head now. So that's the whole point of the increasing. Keeping it as tight as I can go here. So here is stitch 1 connected to the tail. And I know that I'm going to be doing one more increase right before stitch 1, right under that knot that I made to join in my secondary yarn. So there you go. You should have 10 loops in total. Very important to count. You want exactly 10, not 11 or 9, exactly 10. Once you're good to go, now this is the second row for the head. We're going to be just simply knitting. That's it. Just knit around for the second row. You're going to be knitting 10 loops. The third row is when we're going to do 2 increases. And then that's it. We're done with the increasing. So second row right here, I'm just knitting. Trying to keep it tight still. Always want to keep it nice and tight and flushed. Really helps to use nails. Obviously your fingertips are going to be hurting at some point, but it's completely worth it. This is such a wonderful pattern. It's so precious. You're going to love your Jesus plushies. I thank the Lord so much that He kept pushing this on me to do this. I didn't think I can do it, and I'm really glad I was able to do this pattern, and I absolutely love mine. Okay, so like I said, this is a second row. I'm knitting very tight as I can. As you can see, I'm kind of struggling a little bit too, but just keep it flushed. And the third row is when we are going to do 2 more increases, and that's it, done. So here's my third row, using my tail to let me know this is the third row. Here is where we're going to be doing 2 more increases. Pick a spot, any spot wherever you want. You can copy where I put mine. It's going to be very tight. So I knit it twice, and I'm thinking maybe right here is good. So I knit it twice, and now I'm doing an increase. You don't have to copy exactly where I put mine, but if it helps, go ahead. I knit it twice, and I increased. Now I'm making my way around. I'm feeling where I want to do 1 more increase. So I knit it 7 times, guys, and now I feel like right here on the other side, I'm going to do my last increase to get back our original 12 loops that we started with our foundation chain. We want the head width to match the body width, so that's why we increased 2 more times. And then go ahead and finish off knitting the third row. And you know your tail's connected to stitch 1, so be using your tail unless you're using like some kind of like hair clip or something to mark stitch 1. I use my tail, guys, because it's easy. It's right there ready to go. Now, as I said, you should have 12 loops. So I'm letting you know here's stitch 1. So now I'm going to go ahead and count around to make sure that I have 12 loops. You want exactly 12, exactly what you cast it on. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once you're good to go, fourth row, 5th row, 6th row, 7th row, 8th row, 9th row, 10th row, you're going to knit in your secondary skin tone color. Keep knitting tight. The 11th row is when we're going to integrate, switch over to our hair color choice. So you can do the hand house sewing method, burn method, tying a knot. On the 11th row is when you're going to integrate your hair color, and you're going to knit for 3 rows, 11, 12, 13. Now guys, I couldn't get the hair color right. First I went too light, then I think I went too dark, but that's okay. So on the 11th row is when we're going to be integrating, joining in, switching over to our hair color. So again, this is the 4th row, 5th row, 6th row, 7th row, 8th row, 9th row, 10th row. You're simply just going to be knitting in your secondary skin tone color. The 11th row is when we're going to switch over to our hair color. So there's my tail checking it that this is row 5 now. So I'm going to be jumping ahead here again to keep these tutorials not so long. But here is a total of 10 rows in the skin tone color. And now on the 11th row, I'm going to be switching over to my hair color. Again, I think I went too dark. I just couldn't get it right. He has like a gorgeous, like a brown, and I just couldn't get it right. So I'm tying on a knot here. Again, you can keep the ends, cut off the ends, because I use a little scrap piece of yarn to help secure in the tails, which I'll be showing with hot glue or fabric glue there is. And we're going to be knitting the 11th row, 12th row, 13th row, 3 rows in our hair color choice, keeping it nice and tight. And that pretty much completes the body, guys. Now it's going to be enclosing and stuffing, done with part 1. Part 2 is going to be on doing the hair and the beard. Part 3 is going to be on the eyes. And part 4 is when resuming the pattern, the arms, the arms and hands. But I wanted to break it down. So you can skip part 2 if you have your own preference with doing the hair and beard. And you can skip part 3 if you have your own preference with doing the eyes. I embroider the eyes. I'm still learning how to embroider eyes, but I absolutely love it. I'm so intimidated again to embroider, and I really highly recommend if you're intimidated to give it a try. But part 3 is all on embroidering the eyes. So again, you're going to knit 3 rows in your hair color choice, and then we're going to be enclosing and stuffing. So I'm going to jump ahead here now, and here is a total of 3 rows, and now I'm going to cut a couple of inches tail. I'm giving a visual here, and I'm taking the tail all the way down to the neck. You just want a couple of inches. And now we are going to be stuffing the bottom, then enclosing. Because that neck is so tight, the little width that's right at the neckline, let's stuff the body, then enclose it, and then we're gonna stuff the head and the neck through the top part and then enclose that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a good stuffing right at the bottom. Now stuffing is the second biggest critical factor in my opinion and experience in plushie perfection. So you want a good stuffing. And so I would never include stuffing in my tutorials, but now I do because I believe it's a really big critical factor. And so really rotate your plushie, flip it over back and forth. The back part is where the tail's at. The front part is the other side. Now you don't want to overstuff your Jesus plushie. So watch how I'm molding it. You want it a little bit thin. So from the side viewpoint, you want it thin. You don't want it bulging like Winnie the Pooh's belly. You want it a little bit thin here. So you want a good stuffing, but be smashing, molding, flipping over your Jesus plushie to get a good stuff. And again, you want to keep it relatively on the thin side. Don't think round and fat. I often teach that when it comes to stuffing. You want this to be a little bit thinner. The side viewpoint, the side angle, you want it to be thinner. So go ahead and smash it. Smash it from the front and back side to keep it from like bulging out. Like think of Winnie the Pooh's belly. And that's it, guys. And I'm using Joy Fill Polyfill. It's from Walmart. I have that material in the material section. Really love this polyfill. Highly recommend it for all your plushie projects. So do you see that side viewpoint? That's what you want. You want to keep it relatively on the thin side. Once you're good to go ahead and start enclosing it. Which we're going to be taking our tail and weaving it from inside out throughout the loops of the foundation chain. And be tugging. So from inside out, it's called weaving it and tugging. And you want a good tug. You want a nice, efficient enclose. If your tail snaps on you, which does it to me to this day, even did on camera, simply undo your tail, retie a knot, reattach more yarn, cut a tail again, and just continue with your work. But try hard to not snap your yarn because it does make more work right there. So that's kind of the hard part right there, because some brands are a little bit more fragile with the tugging. This one is it was a little bit scary tugging it there. And if you notice, do you see how I'm still molding it, squishing, pressing? Be doing that as you're enclosing it. You want a perfect shape. The polyfill, the shaping is so critical to your plushie perfection. Just begin a good enclose. And if you still have a gap, which it's always probable, just keep working it around. So you see, I still got a gap right there. Just keep working that tail going around. Chunky Chenille is very forgiving, meaning you'll find any opening to poke in the tail and just keep weaving and tugging. So here I'm trying to find a good spot to keep weaving this tail. So I'm going under, like, it feels like a big thick strand here. But that's what I got to do here to enclose it effectively. And so do the same thing if you still have a small gap. And wherever I tuck in my tails, as I've been saying, I use hot glue or fabric glue. There is, but I use hot glue to secure that tail. So I'm pushing a little bit more polyfill. Do the same if you need to. You want that perfect stuffing. But remember, you want to keep it thin a little bit. Now see, I'm showing you right here to keep weaving the tail if you need to. If not, go ahead and tuck it in. I'm going to have a little bit of gap, but that's what I want because I'm going to be poking in some hot glue to give a real good secured right there. So once you get the bottom, now we're going to start stuffing the top. I usually do not do this, but because the neck is so narrowed, it's actually smart to do it like this. So now I'm putting stuffing in the neck. And again, you want to keep this relatively thin on the neck part. Don't overstuff the neck too much. And I'm trying right here to push in some polyfill right into like the shoulder points because I couldn't quite get a good stuffing right there. And so the whole point, guys, is just stuff really good. And then just do a little bit of stuffing for the neck. Don't overstuff the neck too much. And then get a real good stuffing on the head, the face part. So I'll let you go ahead and observe. And I'll be continuing on where we're going to be enclosing. And as you're enclosing, you can be stuffing even more. You just think you want that perfect shape. Okay, so now I'm going to be enclosing, and we're going to be taking our tail and weaving it from inside out through all the loops. And this should be way easier now. Now stitch 1, loop 1 that's connected to tail. You want to keep an eye on it as you're tugging because it will disappear on you. So using some kind of glue stick, pencil, pen, something to hold that loop open as you're tugging will help, because as you're tugging, it's going to be shrinking that stitch to the point where it'll disappear on you. So I'm using nothing, so I'm trying to be really careful here on keeping an eye on it as I tug. And as I said, here's where you can be adding more polyfill, defluffing. You just want that perfect shaping. And thinking round and fat when it comes to like the head, the face is perfect right there. So here's where you could do a really good stuffing, round and fat for the head. But the body is what I'm saying you want to keep relatively thin. And guys, this yarn felt like it wanted to snap on me. So if you kind of see it looks a little bit awkward as I'm pulling, it's because I actually was afraid it was going to snap on me. But turning the plushie in the direction that I'm pulling did help. And so you want to go through all 12 loops, and again, molding, squishing. You just want to get that perfect shaping there. And almost done with part 1. Just going to complete it off here with the enclose. And like I said, part 2 is the hair and beard. Part 3 is the eyes. Part 4, we resume with the arms and hands. And so here you go, guys. It should be looking something like this. And just be giving a nice good squish. And here's where you can even determine if like what you want your front, what's looking more better to be the front and back and your sides, because it can actually switch around. And so now I'm going to be poking this tail in with no knot because I'm using glue, guys, here. And no, you cannot fill the glue because I'm going to be stuffing it right into that polyfill and using a scrap piece of color, same yarn. So it actually works for real good security. So here I'm determining like what's my front and back. I feel like that should be my front. Once you get to go, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and tuck in your tail, and you can tie it with the knot, or you can simply tuck it in. If you're just if you're going to be using some kind of gluing like me, which I will be showing that in part 4, I believe. And I'm just trying to get a really good tuck in there still. And again, keep messing with your shape, keep molding, squishing, determining what looks best to be your front and back and your sides. So this was part 1, guys. This was pretty much like the hard part, all that decrease and increasing. So there's a side angle right there. It's looking good. Part 2, guys, I show you how to do the hair and beard with using minimum glue. It's all surface stitching. Really fun technique I discovered, and I use it now for all my patterns. I hope you guys found this part relatively easy. Thank you so much.